क्या हार्दिक पांड्या को नीट के बाद क्या हुआ? गाना चलता था सबसे मेरी वॉच में चल रही है। हार्दिक पांड्या पास कर रहे हैं वो इतना कल आकाश पानी का प्रयोग करता है बोल रहा था ये रोमांटिक ऑप्शन है क्या भाई तू वही सब देखता है बिल्कुल देखता है ये पता है एक्चुअली ना जॉब करता है ये तो 2400 रुपए का एक टिकट पड़ा वहां पे जाके मैंने आपको पापा की सब ये
आज क्लासरूम आने से क्लास में एंटर करने से पहले ही गले में पहनना है मैं बाहर ही ले जाऊंगी
इधर पढ़ना शुरू किया क्या सोशल एंड रिलीजियस रिफॉर्म national operative
बहनों
सुबह नहीं देखता हूँ बच्चा वो आज की सब तक है नहीं कसम से मैं एक काम कर उसका सेंटर ऑफ ग्रेविटी बढ़वा वो जो होता है ना उधर की स्लीप अरे बड़ा बड़ा इसका आंसर नहीं जाना भाई मैंने जो इतने आंसर बताया सारा कुछ भाई मेरा 3 से 4 IQ होता है भाई
Be seated. Sometimes he starts declining. ये कैसे आ रहा है जब आप क्या हुआ कम आता था तो नवीन में हेल्थ में भी अटेंडेंस थे हाउ यू तन्वी बाकी बच्चों के नाम तो धीरे धीरे याद हो जाएंगे Let's start with the first chapter of our physics, Indian Parliament. So let me know which language you people are comfortable in. Hindi में सीखोगे या English में? दोनों bilingual. English preferred both. So let's keep diving into topics which are confusing or useful for you in Hindi. Okay. You all must be aware that in India we follow the governance system on the basis of division or separation of powers. Yes or no? Are aware of this concept? We are given the concept of separation of powers. So powers are divided into three parts: legislature, executive, and the judiciary. Yes. So our civics also basically is even divided into three parts: legislature, executive, and judiciary. I think we're taking history also, but today this is what was allotted to me, so I started with this chapter. So when we talk about legislature, it is the what should do of legislature? To make law. Yes, law making authority. And executive to execute or implement the law. And judiciary to interpret the law. To interpret the law. यानी कि बच्चा एक शूल में बांधने के भी 100 अलग-अलग तरीके हो सकते हैं। एक कानून का मतलब भी 100 अलग-अलग तरीकों से निकाला जा सकता है, किसी भी तरह से मैनिपुलेट किया जा सकता है। छोटी सी चीज को बहुत बड़ा बनाया जा सकता है, बहुत बड़ी चीज को भी बहुत छोटा बनाकर अलग पर्सपेक्टिव से दिखाया जा सकता है। So the judiciary plays a pivotal role. It tries to interpret the law in the true sense. Yes or no? So basically, we have three types of authorities or the governance. That is the parliament, which makes the law. It comes under the legislature. Then we have the PM, that is the prime minister, and his council of ministers as a part of our executive, and the High Court as well as the Supreme Court constituting as a part of your judiciary. Okay, clear till here, moving on. In this chapter, you are supposed to study only about the parliament. Whenever I say parliament, your parliament has three parts. First part is your Lok Sabha. Second one is Rajya Sabha. Can you tell me what is the first? President. Correct. Mind my words, president is the part of the parliament, but president is not a member of the parliament. Okay, mark my words. He is the part of the parliament, but he is not a member of the parliament. But the members of the Lok Sabha and the members of the Rajya Sabha are the members of the parliament. समझ में आ रहा है? Am I coming across everyone? Lok Sabha में membership कितनी है? 543 members. And Rajya Sabha has 250 members. These are the members of the parliament. Members of parliament, which you also refer as MPs. But president is only a part. He is not a member of the parliament. Now, when I am discussing about the parliament, one very important feature of our government comes. That is a federal form of government. There are two types of government. One is unitary form of government and the other one is the federal form of government. When I say unitary form of government, what do you understand by that? One government, yeah, and that is basically the center. The one at the center. And what do you understand by the federal form of government? क्या होता है federal government? What is a federal form of government? Powers are divided. Powers are divided with the central government and the state government. Yes or no? So in India, which type of government you have? 550 is the maximum capacity. Current members are 540. Okay. So maximum capacity is how much? 550. But the current capacity is how much? 540. Okay. New students who have come just now, have you signed this attendance sheet? Pass. Yes, pay attention. When I talk about a federal form of government, the power is divided in the central government and the state government. Which is more powerful, central or the state? Why? It's up to you. If you want to make notes, you can make. If you don't want to make, you don't make. Who am I to force you? You are in 10th grade. No one are responsible for your studies. I cannot be behind you. I cannot keep checking your books whether you have written or not. If you feel this is going to help you in your studies, you write. If you feel that whatever printed notes you have is more than enough and you don't need this, you don't write. It's completely up to you. I'm not going to punish you or do any sort of such things like it for not writing anything. When you talk of unitary form of government, most of the powers is confined with the central government. There is in fact only the central government which is in the picture, and there is no such type of state government or provincial government. In India, we have states, but in rest of the other countries in the world, they might not necessarily have states, right? So we use a common term for them as provinces. So they might have a provincial government or they might not have a provincial government. And at a unitary form of government, it's always the central type of government which is very, very powerful and has the maximum authority to make decisions for all the provinces as well as the country. Okay? इतना दुख से देख रहा है मेरी तरफ ये सारे प्रोविंसेस ये सारे स्टेट्स एमपी कहाँ से आ गए मेरी जिंदगी में मैं तो आराम से आम खा के सोया था घर पे कहाँ यूपी में फंस गया And if you talk about the federal government में क्या होता है बच्चों? Federal government में central government obviously powerful है, but central government is also known as for each of the states. Think of that whatever the state government is there or the provincial government is there, that is also equally important. They are also having their own set of rights. You must have heard about the lists, right? So, union list, concurrent list, state list. Yes. What are these lists? These lists are, having certain items prescribed under it. These are those items on which these particular state or the union government can make laws. In your union list, you have more than 100 subjects. And as compared to your state list, it's around 61 items. So which is more powerful? The union government. Because it is having more subjects on which it can make laws. Correct? Am I coming across everyone? ज़्यादा इंग्लिश हो गया क्या? नहीं ना ठीक है ना हजम हो रहा है सबको? In Indian Constitution, there is a specification. It's neither. You can't say that everything is controlled by the state government. Well, I do admit that central government is powerful, but both central government as well as the state government acquire their powers from the Constitution of India. दोनों को जो powers मिले किससे मिले हैं? Constitution से मिले. तो क्या सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ये कह सकता है कि मैं ज्यादा पावरफुल हूँ? नहीं. क्या स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ये कह सकता है कि मैं ज्यादा पावरफुल हूँ? नहीं. दोनों equally powerful है because both of them are acquiring their powers from where? From the Indian Constitution. Okay? So when both are getting the powers from the same thing, they are neither the agent, they are neither the functional authority, they are just the one who has to perform certain rules, perform certain actions which are specified as per the rules given in the Constitution. So they can't both stop their existence. They draw their authority from a single source. Now before we proceed further, I hope you all must have this book. Most of you are using Morningstar only, na? Yeah. So just mark your syllabus, 2025. You have the initial paragraph, federal setup in India. This is the part of the syllabus. Federal setup in India. Then directly you have Lok Sabha. Directly you have Lok Sabha. Term of the Lok Sabha. Composition. Qualification. That's all. Then you have to move direct to the parliamentary procedures. There you have sessions. Forum. Question asked. That's all. Then move to the adjournment motion. You don't have zero hour and types of motion. Okay, you don't have that. You have to directly move to adjournment motion. Then no confidence motion. Adjournment motion, no confidence motion, both are the part of the syllabus. Then move to the speaker of the Lok Sabha. That part you have. Then you have election. Then you don't have this deputy speaker part. That is omitted. Then you have role and function of the speaker. Everything under that is important. Then you have Rajya Sabha. You have yes, what are you? Writing this. Then you have Rajya Sabha. In that you have composition, nominated members as well as elected members. Both you have to study. Election you have term by having for Rajya Sabha, election you are having qualifications for membership you have. Then you don't have the disqualification of membership. That's not there in your syllabus. Then you have presiding officers as a part of the syllabus. Then you have powers and functions of the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, the whole thing. Everything under it is there. Even the judicial powers, financial powers, electoral powers, everything is there. Then after that you have amendment of the constitution, control over the executive. Other powers is not the part of your syllabus. Other powers is not the part of your syllabus. Then you have exclusive power of the Rajya Sabha and exclusive powers of your Lok Sabha. Rest of the thing is again not the part of your syllabus. Syllabus clear है सबको? Yes, is it clear? Get out. नहीं बेटा वो नहीं है extended correlation is not. Yes, I know it's a big chapter, but you all are also big children, no? Yes, moving further now, pay attention. So I hope federal setup in India is very much clear to everyone. Any doubts in the federal form of government? Will you be able to write 2-3 lines about the federal type of government they passed in the exam? I will make a federal type of government, powers which are divided between the central government and the state government. Now, in India, the state government as well as the central government will draw their power from the constitution. This is another very important thing. What else you can write? In a federal system of government, all the administrative powers are divided between the central and the state government. Both are supreme within their own respective spheres. Okay? Yes. Moving further to Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha is also known as House of the People. What is known as House of the People? Suppose if I show you 2 images. You know, the images are somewhat like this, small images. If I show you, there are seats. On these seats, every the members of the parliament they are sitting. Yeah, and there is a presiding officer here. There is a presiding officer here. Again, there are seats. The members are sitting. And if I ask you to guess whether this image is of Lok Sabha or of Rajya Sabha, how will you guess it? How will you guess it? Color of? Yeah, green one. अगर ग्रीन हुआ कारपेट का कलर तो इट इज लोक सभा और अगर रेड हुआ कारपेट का कलर तो वो क्या है राज्य सभा. Now one more thing I had told you while teaching about Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, those students who were there in my class last year. Told them one more thing. In the parliamentary building, at least the previous one, not the current building, not the Kashmir building, but the previous building, the Lok Sabha was called the lower house and the Rajya Sabha was called the upper house. The terms lower and upper came from the Lok Sabha used to sit on the ground floor, and the Rajya Sabha used to sit on the first floor. That's the reason they got these lower house and the upper house. Okay, this is like some trivial facts. Now moving further, here are the people, 543, these are the elected members. Which type of members? These are the elected members. Among these elected members, actually the total strength of your Lok Sabha is how much? 550. Total आप कितने लोगों को लोक सभा भेज सकते हो? 550. Among these 550 also there is further bifurcation. 530 they come from the states and 20 they are supposed to come from the union territories, not university. Union territories. Okay. So 20 they come from the union territories, 530 they come from the states. So initially there was a type of thing that was going on. Have you heard about Anglo-Indians?
Yes.
So what?
Britishers who got married to Indian women and their babies are fusion of British and Indian, so they are Anglo.
You remember a very precise answer. That's correct. That's correct. The Indian women who married to British officers, their lineage is known as their descendants. They are known as Anglo-Indians. And in India, we had 2 seats reserved for the Anglo-Indians. So 543 plus 2 used to be the elected members. 543 plus 2, these 2 seats were for Anglo-Indians. But in the year 2020, this kind of system was stopped. This was stopped. Anglo-Indians were getting 2 seats reservation in the Lok Sabha, but in 2020, this was stopped. They stopped giving them this reservation because hardly the Anglo. What happened? I didn't get it. Please out.
He's saying that if British
No,
women
it
get
is not considered as Anglo-Indian. If the mother is British and the father is Indian, right? That's what you are asking. Then such children are not considered as Anglo-Indian. They are given Indian citizenship. Because Papa is the important patriarchy. Okay, that's the reason. तो Papa अगर British है तो क्या हो जाएगा? Anglo-Indian. And Papa अगर Indian है तो क्या हो जाएगा? Indian. Irrespective of where which ethnicity the mother comes from. Okay. Now moving further, these 2 seats which used to be given as a reservation to the Anglo-Indians, it has been stopped. Stopped why? This got stopped in the year 2020. To be very precise, January 25, 2020, this stopped because there was a bill that was passed in the Lok Sabha. This bill क्या कह रहा था that overall population of Anglo-Indian in India, according to the 2011 census, is hardly 250 people. How much they are left in India? Hardly 250. So there's no point of giving him 2 seats reservation for the Anglo-Indians. And whatever reservation kind of thing was there, these 2 seats also, that was supposed to be given only for the next 10 years after independence. Next 10 years only they were supposed to get this reservation. But it was extended to 2020, that is next 70 years approx. So they got a reservation for a very long time. So now that was at the high time to remove this, and that's the reason they stopped giving this reservations. Now, all the people who are elected, 543 to be very correct, or even if it is the whole 550, whosoever comes here in the parliament, they are having a tenure of 5 years. कितने साल के लिए रहेंगे? 5 years. They have a tenure of 5 years. But sometimes what happens? Lok Sabha is not a permanent body. You all know that. Rajya Sabha is a permanent body. Lok Sabha is not a permanent body. Why? Because Lok Sabha can be dissolved. Why Lok Sabha is dissolved? Why it can be dissolved?
people are not happy with the party.
Which part? Ruling government. Be very precise. People are not happy with the ruling government. Then what can they do? They may go against the ruling government. They might stop supporting the ruling government. The ruling government at the moment is BGB, right? Narendra Modi, and he acquires the support. He is in power because of the members of the Lok Sabha, the support that they are giving this. If the members of the Lok Sabha stop supporting him, or they start going against him, they start disobeying his rules and orders, do you think he would like to continue as a PM? No. Then what will he do? He will go himself and he will suggest the President of India that it's high time to dissolve the Lok Sabha. It's time for new general elections. Am I coming across everyone? सबको समझ में आ रहा है? PM को जब तक लोकसभा से सपोर्ट मिल रहा है, PM को जब तक लोकसभा के लोगों से सपोर्ट मिल रहा है, सिर्फ तब तक PM बनकर रह सकता है। जिस दिन लोकसभा के लोगों ने उसको सपोर्ट देना बंद कर दिया, तो क्या PM की पोजीशन को कंटिन्यू कर पाएगा? नहीं कर पाएगा। फिर क्या होगा? फिर सारे मानो PM बोल रहा है कुछ अच्छी चीज और उसके लोग उसको सपोर्ट ही नहीं कर रहे, वो उसकी बातों को फॉलो करेंगे क्या? बिल्कुल नहीं। तो चीजें कैसी हो जाएंगी? उलट पुलट हो जाएंगी। कैसे उलट पुलट सरकार का प्रधानमंत्री बने रहना चाहेगा कोई भी PM? नहीं। फिर जो भी गलतियां होगी उसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी किसके सिर पे आएगी? उसी के सिर पे आएगी। तो ऐसे में लोकसभा डिसॉल्व करना ही क्या होता है? बेस्ट ऑल्टरनेटिव। Okay, so in such situation, the Lok Sabha can be dissolved before the completion of 5 years by the President with the advice of Prime Minister. Now, I will tell you a dilemma in our country. What you know? We have a very good government. We have a very good democracy. We have the longest written constitution in the world. But our President, who is the head of the country, is a puppet. Is a puppet. Puppet under the Prime Minister. Sadly, our President has very less powers of his own. Very less. And what our President does? He has to just obey the Prime Minister. Everything, every decision is taken by the Prime Minister. Because Prime Minister is the real head. And the President is a nominal king. Am I coming across? Prime Minister is the real head. And the President is a nominal head. कुछ लोग चिढ़ा के पता है President को क्या बोलते हैं? Rubber stamp. सारे decision कौन ले रहा है? Prime Minister. उस पे stamp कौन मारता है? President. That is why he is, jokingly referred to as a rubber stamp. Okay? That's what the situation of our country is. तो कोई भी decision President बहुत less है ऐसे कुछ है. There are certain things where Prime Minister can take this, President can take decision on his own discretion, but they are very less on contrast to those which are basically majority of the decisions are taken by the Prime Minister. Okay? Term, just see the term easily 5 years. Now, when there is an emergency kind of situation, do you understand about political emergency, national emergency? Yes. What is it?
Well, US fundamental rights aren't applicable for India.
Correct. What else?
Traffic jam, traffic rights,
Traffic jam. बड़ा ज़्यादा हो गया.
rights.
Rights का सही है. Correct. Fundamental rights are suspended. What else? Last bench. तेरा नाम क्या था मेरी क्लास में? Slow. So slow. नहीं आता यार. Many students are active.
Miss Hayat.
नहीं आया.
Miss Payne. Sachi.
Impossible.
Yes,
कौन से सब्जेक्ट एसएस को मिली
मैथ्स को है जो बोल रहे उसकी 6 साल का और
आज मेरे हाल anyways failure is not the end, it's a new beginning. Moving further, at the time of emergency what happens? Your fundamental rights are suspended. Have you ever come across this incident where Indira Gandhi had put up an emergency in India? कुछ सुना है उनके बारे में? 1976. Lockdown में सही था situation. Last bench boys, I'm going to put an emergency on that book now. हाँ पहले तू उधर शिफ्ट हो जा और तू इस तरफ शिफ्ट हो मत शेयर करो ऐसे ही बैठो अंधेरे में आ जाओ इधर शिफ्ट हो जा Why not you share the books with that boy? No, that's me. एक आप में से कोई एक दे दो आपके पास 4 नंबर सो हम लोग उधर पीछे श्लोक को दो तुम्हारा होना Yes. अरे थोड़ा डिस्टेंस करो सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग करो तुम इस तरह आ जाओ थोड़ा और तुम बीच में बैग्स रखो और इस तरफ जगह है ना शिफ्ट हो सकते हो ना बैठने की सीट है ना और तुम आ जाओ तुमको कुछ नहीं करते आ जाओ और आ जाओ आ क्यों नहीं रहा है शिफ्ट आ जाओ इस तरफ आ जाओ वो बैग भी ऊपर रखो नीचे क्यों रखो बैग को रखो अब बैठ Now, what is emergency? First, we understand that it's a type of political, situation wherein all the fundamental rights of the citizens are cropped off. You have a fundamental right to speak, to express yourself, to give your opinion. But when the government, the ruling government, it feels that there is some attack or there is some disturbance or there is some insurgency in the country, then usually it comes to a situation of imposing an emergency in the country. It's a kind of lockdown type of situation where people are not allowed to meet each other. They are not allowed to assemble in groups. They are not allowed to discuss or conduct political rallies, or they are not even allowed to come into a group of 4 people and stand on a road and talk. Even that is not allowed. And even found doing that, they are put behind the bars and they are not given bail. All the offences under emergency are considered as non-bailable offences. They are not granted bail. And the situation is really very harsh for those who are trying to oppose the emergency. Okay, so it becomes a type of dictator type of government. It is a kind of such situation. So when there is an emergency, usually re-elections don't happen. General elections, they are not conducted during emergency kind of people. And then the situation is like whichever the government is in the power, it keeps continuing to be in the power. So sometimes this emergency is like misused to be in the power. Most of the facts, most of the writers who have described about the 1976 emergency of Indira Gandhi, they say that since she was very much sure that the elections which would be conducted in the year 1975, she was ought to lose that. She was bound, she was very much sure that she will lose those elections. So she declared an emergency in India, which postponed the elections, and she could continue to remain in the power as a PM. So she tried to exploit one of the constitutional facility that was given to the country's government. Am I coming across everyone? The emergency कोई अच्छी चीज नहीं है. Emergency जब लगती है तब आपके सारे अधिकार क्या हो जाते हैं, आपके हाथ से छीन लिए जाते हैं. आप उस emergency का विरोध भी नहीं कर पाते हो, ऐसा सिचुएशन आपके ऊपर आया जाता है. ठीक है. अब ऐसा सिचुएशन है, इमरजेंसी लगी पड़ी है, तो जो भी लोकसभा पावर में होगी उसका टेन्योर क्या हो जाएगा, एक्सटेंड हो जाएगा. 5 साल के ऊपर भी पावर में काम करती रहेगी, रह सकती है. और जब भी इमरजेंसी खत्म होगी उसके 6 महीने के अंदर अंदर तुरंत क्या होगा, री-इलेक्शन. Within 6 months after completion of emergency, there has to have election in the country. Voting होगा ही होगा और उसके बाद नया गवर्नमेंट जीत कर आएगा. New government will be elected. Now what then we can आपस में नहीं बात करें. Right? Now this pink part, it's not the part of the syllabus, but still I tell you, Shadra Nagar, Haveli, Jamana and Diu both became one single union territory. What happened? Now it happened in the year in 2020 because hardly these both union territories are 35 kilometers away from each other, and there was too much of duplication of paper. Suppose एक bridge है, तो मैंने बताया था शायद इस पे साइड दमानम व्यू. यहाँ पे है दादरा नगर हवेली, दोनों के बीच का डिस्टेंस कितना है 35 किलोमीटर. So let's take, I want to build a bridge. The government wants to build a bridge from Daman and Diu to Dadra Nagar Haveli. Once on the document, it will be shown that the construction work is going on in Daman and Diu, and an amount of suppose 1 crore will be sanctioned from the government. Same bridge, for the same bridge again, Dadra Nagar Haveli will file the paperwork and it will show a new bridge is going to be built, and again they will ask for 1 crore from the government. Is this fair enough? No. Bridge to वही है ना? Bridge is one, and for that one single bridge, money from the government is taken 2 times. Is this fair enough? No. So this kind of duplication of paperwork and duplication of budgetary amounts or money that was acquired from the government was increasing too much, and that's the reason they clubbed these both the union territories into one, and now it is known as Daman and Diu Dadra Nagar Haveli Union Territories. Now, remember 104th Constitution Amendment removed this. What do you understand by the word constitutional amendment? What do you understand by this word constitutional amendment? Suppose you want to make any change to the already existing laws. Yes, all the laws of your country is written in the book named Constitution. You know that, right? Now, if you want to make some change to the laws that are already written in the Constitution, how will you make it? Yeah, उसमें ना हम तो रबर लेके इरेज करेंगे फिर से लिख देंगे. How easy? अच्छा पेन से लिखा है तो व्हाइटनर लिखता है ना वो लेके लगा देंगे उसके ऊपर फिर से लिख देंगे.
नहीं बस अगर वैसा है तो बहुत इम्प्रूव अम्बेडकर जी को दर्द होगा इसलिए हम वहाँ पे फुल स्टॉप लगा के आगे कुछ लिखते हैं.
हम स्टिकी नोट्स लगा देंगे. ठीक है? सिंपल नाइस आइडिया से करते. Pay attention here now. Yes, so if you want to change something that is written in your constitution, you cannot use eraser, you cannot use sticky notes, you cannot use writing. What you have to do? You have to pass a petition or a bill in the Lok Sabha. That Lok Sabha, if it agrees to whatever you are saying, it will pass the bill and it will be further sent to Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha again, if it is feeling that whatever you are saying and whatever is mentioned in the bill is correct, then it will also pass the bill and it will go to the president. President will give the assent and then finally the law will be changed. That is called constitutional amendment. Okay, तो कोई भी कानून अगर आप अपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में चेंज करना चाहते हो, मॉडिफाई करना चाहते हो, तो that is referred to as constitutional amendment. Am I clear? समझ में आ रहा है सबको?
Yes.
Yes. Any doubt? Anyone after your? Feel free to ask. No, if don't sit like that, keeping all your doubts in your mind, I can't help. So this change of removing the 2 seats or stopping to give the reservation of 2 seats to the Anglo-Indians was brought forth by the 104th Constitutional Amendment. Okay, so 2020 आते आते कितनी बार Constitution को बदला गया है बच्चों? 104 times. So under the 104th time when the Constitution was changed, this was the change that was brought about. Now, how many seats each of the state gets in the Lok Sabha? That is completely dependent upon the number of population that the state is having. The state with the highest population in India is Uttar Pradesh. So it is having a huge chunk of share in the Lok Sabha seats. It gets 80 seats. तो लोकसभा में 543 सीट्स में से 80 सीट्स पर कहां से आके बैठेंगे लोग? उत्तर प्रदेश. Okay? Any doubt? Any confusion?
बस ये याद तो कर.
लास्ट में फिर से थोड़ा भी याद करो. हाईएस्ट कितना है? वो नहीं वो टेबल तो याद नहीं करना. I am on this paragraph. Position of Lok Sabha. What happened? कुछ गिरा क्या नीचे? नहीं और तन्वी जाओ Come on the front bench, no? Like I was sitting there with you. ये
वॉइस की तरफ बात किया
You want to call that person? You are feeling uncomfortable because of the chip lady?
थोड़ा जोर से बोल हाँ भाई थोड़ा सा ही
This chip is going to do in our parliament.
Yes, miss. Yes, parliament का भी ठीक है बॉडी का चुला है आगे मरा
Better behave yourself. You are sitting in a class, and you also have a guest.
Yes.
Come outside the class. Only girls. Boys, you are going to sit in your back.
अरे भैया सब जाने
किधर दिख रहा है?
अरे गांधी जी नहीं सुबह निकालेगा चिप करेगा
नहीं है ना?
टाइम पास कर रहे हैं टाइम पास कर रहे हैं कुछ लेक्चर बोरिंग लगा तो
चेक कर लिया।
हाँ
नहीं
कल बॉयज की साइड चेक करो
छोटा सा ऐसे पेंसिल जरा हिलाओ।
ये देखना सुनो
यार बेंच
वो देख बॉयज साइड तो नहीं आ गया रिलेट पे डायरेक्ट पे लग रहा है क्या
अब इसके बाद में आपको बैठ के हाँ मेरे को बोलो बैक नहीं तो इसके बैक में देख लो हाँ बैक चेक करो बैक के नीचे भी रखा ना बेटा के कपड़े में लगा दे हाँ बर्थडे गिफ्ट ओके चलिए ना फ्रंट रो फ्रंट बेंच पे बैठो बच्चों फ्रंट ट्रेंडर्स पे see बेटा where it is कहाँ Let us know a little bit also the part of our class today. She will also learn something about the parts of life. She or he, whatever. Now, yeah, so we were talking about the Lok Sabha and we have completed till that part wherein we were discussing that the number of seats which are allotted to each and every state is on the basis of the population. Uttar Pradesh, since it has the maximum population, it is given maximum number of seats. UP has 80 seats in the Lok Sabha, whereas for Maharashtra it is 48 members. Goa, Manipur and Meghalaya, these are small states with lesser population, so they send only 2 members each. And Mizoram, Meghalaya, Sikkim, they have further less population, so they send only 1 member. and Delhi sends 7 votes. I don't think you have to remember all of this. Just remember about Uttar Pradesh that it is sending 80 members, and then one you all remember about Maharashtra that it is sending 40. What happened?
Why does it body now?
There is a union territory. There is a union territory, okay? And it sends 7 members. All the union territories are sending their members, not to the Lok Sabha. 20 seats are reserved for union territories. No?
Yes, sir. Practically, Rajasthan seats के लिए
नहीं है तो फिर population की वजह से Further, let's talk about the qualification of the membership. Who can be the member of the Lok Sabha? Of course, you can be a member of the Lok Sabha provided you complete 25 years of your age. आपका age कितना होना चाहिए? 25. 25 plus हो गए तो आप लोक सभा में MP बन सकते हो. ये बन सकते हो आप. Okay. Then you also need to be a citizen of India. You also need to be a popular politician in your area. Yes, आपको लोग वोट देने चाहिए, आप contesting candidate होने चाहिए, आपको किसी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का टिकट मिलना चाहिए, तब आप क्या बन सकते हो? लोकसभा के MP बन सकते हो. Yes. He or she should have his name or her name in the electoral rolls in some part of the country. What is an electoral roll?
This is the machine.
Eligible voters in that area. Electoral roll is a list which contains the list of eligible voters, names of the list of the eligible voters in that particular area. Very recently, 2024 का election होने वाला है. In Mumbai, I don't know when the election dates are announced. But जब ये dates announce होंगे, तो election commission क्या करता है? It makes an electoral roll. That is the list of eligible voters. जो लोग मर चुके हैं या अब इस दुनिया में नहीं है, उनका नाम उस लिस्ट में से हटा दिया जाता है. And those who have turned 18 or 18 plus and have got their election voter ID card, their names are included in that list. So the list is updated. So your name has to be in such of any one of the voter ID list or electoral roll. Your name has to be there. किसी भी एक लिस्ट में आपका नाम तो होना ही चाहिए. अगर नहीं होगा तो आप इलेक्शन के लिए खड़े नहीं हो सकते for लोकसभा. Then you should not be an insolvent. What do you understand by the term insolvent? Bankrupt. या फिर ऐसा इंसान जिसने हद से ज्यादा लोन ले रखा है, but borrowed too many loans and is not in a condition to repay back them. Okay, so that a person is also known as an insolvent. Insolvency is, sometimes what happens, a person takes a huge amount of loans and then he defaults. He's not in a condition to pay them back. When he or she is having so much of financial repayment back left, if he comes in the power, do you think he will be an unbiased candidate for the Lok Sabha seat? No. Wherever he can make monetary benefit, he will surely try to do that, so that it helps him to repay back his own personal loan. Will that be very much good for the people of the country? Not at all. So that's the reason we are avoiding such.
If the percentage will not become in the member of Lok Sabha,
Then he will lose his seat. Okay. He or she should not hold any office of profit. What do you understand by this term, office of profit?
Job.
Government job. Okay. Government job. Suppose, imagine, एक आदमी है. He is a teacher in a government school, or let's take a professor in a government college, and is also contesting for Lok Sabha election. Will he be allowed to do so? Why? Why? Yeah.
Because he's getting paid.
Why?
Which is good.
Yes, you are correct, but will he allow anything get paid? No. Once he becomes MP, he will again start getting another government salary. Yes or no? At the moment, he is already getting a salary for being the government professor. Yes or no? Plus, he will also get another salary from the government for being MP of Lok Sabha. Although it is a less salary, it's hardly 15,000-20,000 that they get on being MP of Lok Sabha. But getting salary from 2 governmental sources. Is it fair? That's the reason he cannot be holding an office of profit. Office of profit means a government job under the government. He should not be having any shares in any company which is partially government, semi-government types of such things should not be there. So he or she doesn't have monetary benefit from the government from 2 sources. That is what is the crux behind it. He should not be a proclaimed criminal. पता चला MP बन गया 100-200 मर्डर कर रखे आदमी ने. Is it good enough to make him an MP? No, not at all. Have I asked you examples for this?
एक कुछ तो बोल रहा था प्रतीक प्रयोग
There are many. There are many. In fact, in Kerala, I had read one of the news in Kerala. There is one of an MP who has more than 300 criminal cases going on against him, and he's an MP in Kerala. Holding a parliamentary seat in the Kerala legislature. So that's how it works. But yeah, the rules are something different, and the way they are implemented, they are something different. I agree with it. He should not be of unsound mind. सीधे शब्द में mentally retarded या mentally challenged नहीं होना चाहिए, पागल नहीं होना चाहिए. Okay. Disqualification of membership, not the part of your syllabus. Vacation of seats, not the part of your syllabus. Moving further, parliamentary procedures. Okay. When you talk about parliamentary procedures, children, you must be having an idea that there are sessions. 3 types of sessions happen throughout the year of parliament. Budgetary session, monsoon session, and winter session. Yes, these 3 sessions we have. Now there are different time periods set for these sessions. Each of these sessions summoned by the president. Summoned मतलब बुलाना. Session को कौन बुलाता है? President. भगाता कौन है? President. क्या है आपको the work better to do? I'm standing idle. Switch on and off the fans. So I think this one is needed. First, you want fan?
This AC or Sunday fan under.
No, let it be. AC, let it be. Yeah. Moving further. Not on that. Sessions. With your fans and everything. Forget. Yeah, so there are 3 sessions actually, and the president is the person who summons them, and it's the president only who asks them to leave. But again, president can't do anything on his own discretion. He does it on the orders of nations. So yes, so president summons the sessions of both the houses, not just Lok Sabha. He also summons the sessions of the Rajya Sabha. So Rajya Sabha के लोग आके कब मिलेंगे, ये भी कौन decide कर रहा है? प्रेसिडेंट. और लोकसभा के लोग आके कब मिलेंगे ये भी कौन डिसाइड कर रहा है? प्रेसिडेंट विद द एडवाइस ऑफ प्राइम मिनिस्टर. नाउ ये जो 3 सेशंस होते हैं, they actually what see in nowhere in our constitution they have written that the members of the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha are expected to meet 2 or 3 times a year. Nowhere it is written. कहीं पर भी नहीं. So it's left to the discretion of the parliamentary members कि उनको कब मिलना है. कम से कम 2 बार तो साल में मिलना ही है, तभी जाके वो देश के लिए कुछ कर पाएंगे. But yeah, there is no hard and fast rule about that. What are you writing with that? Why are you writing that? Not now. For homework. In my class, you are supposed to just sit and listen. Or whatever I write on the board, that if you want to copy, you can do that. मैं भी बकवास कर रही हूँ, आप भी लिख रहे हो, then ultimately there is no resultant product or the outcome of the whole. Yes. So the 2 sessions that are usually held, they are supposed to be between the interval of less than 6 months. तो जब भी पार्लियामेंट मिलेंगे तो उनके बीच में जो टाइम गैप होगा, the interval it has to be less than 6 months. It should not cross beyond 6 months. Okay, so 7-8 months के बाद कभी मिल जाए, that should not happen. So within 6 months they are supposed to meet. Normally they meet for 3 times, but they are expected to meet only for 2 times. Okay, they are expected to meet at least for 2 times, but normally they end up meeting for 3 times, and the 3 sessions are budgetary sessions, monsoon session, and the winter session. Budget session occurs between the months of February and May, and it is the longest session. सबसे ज़्यादा लंबा बैठने वाला session ये है. Then the monsoon session it occurs for 3 weeks, between July and August. And the winter session it occurs for I think 3 to 4 weeks, November to December. कोविड के बाद जो पहला सेशन हुआ था ना वो जस्ट 6 महीने के बाद हुआ 6 months that interval was just about to get over and then they had their session. Okay. Is it clear up till here? Some budget session is compulsory. Yeah, it's compulsory. Because every year the government gives an idea of what budgets they are going to make. Now see, even if there are new elections that are occurring, so exactly at this moment they are not supposed to have a session now. Because any government can come up. It might not be BJP that is going to come up. There is a possibility of other governments to win. Maybe Congress जीते, maybe आम आदमी पार्टी जीते, कोई भी दूसरा जीते. पर अभी जो रूलिंग पार्टी है वो फिर भी क्या करेगा? बजट सेशन रखेगा और अपने लिए एक प्रोविजनल बजट बनाएगा. Irrespective whether they are winning the election or not, they are supposed to hold the budget session. Okay. Quorum. What is a quorum? Suppose if I am taking a class and out of the 100 students, there are hardly 2 or 3 who are present. Rest all the students have packed their bags and have gone to Switzerland trip. What do I do?
You are not taking class.
Should I cancel the class?
Online.
Online. जैसे स्विट्जरलैंड में बैठ के मेरे सेशन देखने वाला. That situation, if it is happening in a parliament, class can be cancelled, no problem. I can cancel, I can reschedule it. But what about the parliamentary session? Out of the 543 people, at least some people should be present in the parliament so that the session starts. Yes or no? That ratio is 10%. At least 10% of the people they are supposed to be present. So out of 543, at least 54 to 55 people are supposed to be there in the parliament to start the session, which is called quorum. So क्या बोलेंगे? Quorum. At least 54%. That is a 10%. How you are supposed to remember this? You are supposed to remember it as 10%. Or you can write as 1/10. Okay. What would happen if 110 people are also not present in the parliament? Yes, it will be adjourned. The session will be adjourned. उस दिन के जो proceedings होंगे क्या वो complete हो पाएंगे? What the speaker will do? Speaker will cancel the session for the day. So at least 1/10 of the total membership has to be there. Now, moving till now, any doubt you are having up till this part, no sessions, forum, everything. Any doubt, anyone? किसी को भी?
बस ऐसा होता है क्या? जबकि majority मतलब members absent
होता है ना?
ऐसे सबकी तबीयत एक साथ नहीं होती.
नहीं खराब है यार, issues के खा रही है लोग, question or word. You can write this now. What I'm writing on the board. What's the name? What happened?
What's the name?
How does that concern you?
मिस उन्हें हर लेक्चर के बीच में 1 घंटे का ब्रेक मिलता है हाँ वो
हम लोग मीटिंग में
Call me BGB. Yeah.
बीजेपी कहाँ चल रहा है बाद में वोट डाल from politics
So anyone planning to work in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha? Have the schedule.
नो मिस वाई क्यों इतना ब्रेक मिल रहा है मेरे से 1 घंटे का
और बीच में भी बड़े बड़े 2-2 महीने के ब्रेक होते हैं. The MPs of Lok Sabha are somewhat getting between 15 to 20,000 per month. And then the things that they earn below the table,
yes
that is
अब तो बनी क्या है
less sensitive. Actually, this is what was considered as a social service. Being in politics is considered as a social service, doing something to the society, changing the society.
पूरे में स्मार्ट में देखा बस वो लोग ऐसा हंसते रहते हैं कैसे तरह से करते हैं
Now they must have improved. Now after the 7th pay commission has come, probably their salaries have also increased. I don't know the increased rates. I'm not aware about the increased rates. I'll tell you in the next class. I'll read and come and I'll tell you. At the moment when I was studying, I was informed that it was around 15 to 20,000. अभी तो काफी बढ़ भी गया होगा.
इससे जीरो आवर में क्या होता है?
बता दूँ ना. जीरो आवर में पोल खोल होता है. पोल खोल.
वही मैं सोच रहा था यानी कि बोलने के बाद में लोग फिर तो
हाँ सबकी पोल खुल जाती है बेटा उसको.
तो फिर करेंगे क्या उसको लाइव
हाँ
मैंने क्योंकि कभी टीवी पे बीच बीच में ऐसे कुछ शॉर्ट्स देखे
ये चैनल भी है ना राज्यसभा का भी आता है.
सब्सक्राइब
अरे भाई लिखो जल्दी जल्दी हो गया सबका लिखिए. Finish it fast. Enjoy your break.
It's fun.